Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel Melanade Beauty. In today's video we are going to be DIYing on trend home decor with items from the thrift store. Now I didn't go out and buy any materials for these projects. It's everything that I already had at home in my craft stash, and the items that I found at the thrift store are very simple house items that you could probably have already in your home or at your local thrift store. So with that being said, let's jump right on into the first DIY. If you don't know by now, these old age vintage vessels are a must-have for your home. Depending on where you get them and how truly vintage they could be really expensive. These pieces are truly timeless with their naturally worn in and distressed look, with such organic shapes and discoloration is what makes these truly beautiful pieces. But once again, they could be truly expensive, and when you're just not in the market for such an investment, you can go to Goodwill and find similar items that replicate the same shapes. I found this vase at the Goodwill for only $3, and I just fell in love with the middle bubbly portion of it in such round shape with the tapered top and bottom. And I'm going to be creating a mixture of drywall spackling and some chalk paint to cover this in. You can find the drywall spackle at your dollar store. I found a larger bucket at Lowe's, and you're also going to need some type of brush or sponge and a mixing cup. Here I'm just eyeballing 1 part mixture of paint with about 2 parts mixture of the drywall spackling, and I'm going to give it a good mix until I get a smooth consistency. You want this to be a very thick paste, but still smooth enough for you to maneuver and spread around on your vase. When you're applying this mixture to your vase, you can definitely manipulate the texture by painting it in any direction as you wish. You can make certain areas thicker, thinner, use a sponge or brush to create any type of intentional brush strokes. So definitely make this a natural, organic piece. So once you completely cover this in the mixture, you're going to let it fully set and dry before you start the next step, which is painting. As you can see, I already started on most of it. I still have a few spots to go, but I just wanted to show you what a little bit of paint can really do to take this vase to the next level. So here I'm just adding some more natural tones like brown and white, and even a little bit of green I mixed in with the brown to definitely give it lots of dimension and some highlights. So I'm dry brushing this paint on, and I'm just stippling it into the vase. So just going back and forth, shading, blending, and fading these colors. I realized using the darker color on the more textured sections really made the piece pop and look so authentic and truly vintage. So I thought I'd finish off this piece by just highlighting a few areas with some white paint. And then going back in with some dark brown just to go around the edges and the rim The more layering and shading of this piece is what's going to make it look truly authentic and old-aged. Next up on trend are these rattan trays. They can be very functional, used for many reasons in different areas of the home. Here's an up-close image of this material with like that cane webbing. So I found this natural wooden tray at Goodwill for $4. I'm going to be covering it in this mesh material. It's actually a table runner from Target. And I researched the material. It's actually called a ramie material. I've never heard of it, but I bought this material a while back for a different DIY, and it's actually been stretching upon several DIYs. So if you want similar material, just try using table runners. I'm also going to be using some wood stain and polyurethane that I've already had on hand. I'm going to try to mimic the more warmer tone wood that I saw in the photos. So first we're going to apply that stain directly on using a paper towel. I highly recommend working outside when using such a strong component like this stain. However, it was snowing and very cold, so I just had the window or the sliding door open completely. So yeah. And please wear your gloves. You're going to want to let your stain dry for at least 24 hours, so I set mine outside. The next day, I covered it in this spar urethane sealer in a satin finish. I only applied it to the inner sides and the outer sides and not the center, because I'm going to be adding that material to the center. You definitely can add this sealer to the center if you know you're going to be using it for possibly holding drinks, so in case you get any spillage, but I'm gonna have it for light uses only, so I just went on and skipped that section. Once it has completely dried, I'm just going to flip it over so I can measure and cut along the bottom piece of this tray, so I can make sure that it is going to fit very nice and snug inside. Now to adhere this material inside of my tray, I'll be using a high temperature hot glue gun with Gorilla Glue hot glue sticks. And I'm just going to be gluing along the edges inside and pressing down firmly. Now to add a bit more detail, I'm going to be adding the same material to the handles. So I'm just measuring and cutting 2 pieces, and then I'm going to hot glue those pieces directly onto the handles, securing any frayed edges with the glue. And for our final DIY on trend piece is this boucle fabric that everyone has been falling in love with, and boucle has been very trendy these last couple of months. They come in all sorts of forms such as sofas, armchairs, ottomans, and even throw pillows. So I am going to be making my very own set of throw pillows with this remaining Sherpa fabric that I had from my previous video on how to DIY a boucle ottoman dupe. Please check that out. I'll leave it in the description box below. Luckily, I had just enough to make 2 pillowcases for these pillows. My pillow inserts are thrifted, but they are fairly brand new. They still have the tags on them when I purchased them. Ideally, I would prefer a down pillow insert, but these are regular polyfill. Now, I didn't exactly measure this material. I just put the pillow over top of the fabric and wrapped it as so, just to make sure that it will fit and, be able to sew up nicely. And once I realized the size that I'll be needing, I cut that piece and then I lined it up with another piece of fabric to make 2 matching pieces. Luckily, this material is very forgiving, so it will stretch as much as you need it to, which is a good thing because you always want your pillows to be nice and snug and not loose on your insert. Now, I just want to say that I am not a professional or expert at sewing, especially not with a sewing machine, which is why I'll be hand stitching this. If you have a sewing machine, please use that instead. It'll be a lot quicker and faster. However, hand stitching these pillows did not take me very long at all, actually. It was the most easiest sewing that I have done, especially with this material. You don't really have to hem along the edges as you usually would with other fabric because material, you can't see the seams at all, and it does fray a little bit, but all you have to do is pull at the edges a little bit and eventually it will stop fraying the fur material. Be sure that when you get to this middle section where the 2 sides of the fabrics meet, you want to be sure to sew all of those in one stitch so it does not pull apart later on. Thank you guys so much for watching. I really hope you enjoyed this video. Please leave a comment down below which DIY that you like the most. Also, remember to subscribe to my channel. A lot of my viewers are not subscribed and it kind of breaks my heart. So if you see yourself, returning to my videos a lot, just subscribe and then hit the notification bell so you won't miss them. It just makes sense. So until next time, bye.